Well, the outdoor growing season may be over, but the indoor growing season is year-round. Well, we're at home with Jungle Judy as she shares some really helpful tips.
Judy, thank you for having us not only in your home, but in your greenhouse too. It's so gorgeous in here.
Well, thanks so much for coming. This is something on not necessarily this scale, but I think what we're going to talk about is how easy it is to continue what you've been doing outside and just do some indoor stuff.
Well, I'm so happy we're talking about this today because I have to admit I'm so bad at this. I feel like every time I bring home a houseplant, it just does not last, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm always messing it up. So let's talk about some simple tips that can, we can adopt that will give me some smiles and also, hopefully our plants some smiles too.
So I think number one, and it's really similar to growing things outside, is the right plant for the right place.
Sure.
Okay? So a lot of the things that we're growing indoors are tropical plants. Okay, rather than native plants or ones that are adapted to low water use.
Sure.
So one of the things we need to think about is certainly this time of the year towards winter. I don't know about you, but I've got my indoor heat on.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. You think about indoor heat, and it really not only raises the temperature, but dries that humidity.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
I think a lot of people don't think about that.
Right.
So if you think about tropical plants, they come from, most of them, rainforests.
Sure.
Where there is that drenching humidity. Another thing would be don't go too big. Don't start too big.
Yeah.
Anytime if I'm purchasing a plant, I always try and go with the smaller size of plant.
Okay.
Similar to outdoors. When we're growing an outdoor veggie garden, we start with little transplants.
Right.
We want them to get them to adapted to our soil conditions.
Yeah.
We want that plant to get adapted to your indoor environment, not having been grown in a greenhouse.
Okay.
And have you then say, oh, this is so happy, the roots are growing out the bottom, I can then transplant it up. But don't look for that instant beauty right away. I think most people look for that instant effect. I think probably the hardest thing is to purchase a plant, not talking about our seasonal poinsettias, but a regular tropical plant that may be in bloom, beautiful in the greenhouse, bring it home, or a citrus that may be in flower, and all the blossoms drop. And when that happens, we get discouraged.
Yeah.
What do you think? What are you doing about light? I think that certainly at this time of the year, we have very little light. The intensity of our light is really low.
Okay.
The angle of the sun is really low.
Yeah.
And the number of hours of usable daylight that plants can get to grow is very low.
Okay.
So for plants that need flowering conditions, you want to give them a southern exposure.
Okay.
But not touching the window. For things like ferns or ones that can take it a little, that need more humidity, that can take less light. Even a northern location is not too dark.
I've had problems with my outdoor veggie garden with a lot of pests and insects, stuff like that. I know a lot of people get worried about that with bringing an indoor plant in and potentially, looking at pests, and then maybe how do we know if it's going to spread to another plant? We got to be careful, right? So tell us what we need to know here.
You got to nurture. That's number one.
Yeah.
But the challenge can be a little bit more because we turn our furnaces on, and an indoor environment, if we're not careful, if we're not checking our plants, we can have a proliferation of pests.
Okay.
Most of the pests that we have on our indoor plants are a function of us not paying enough attention, not turning the leaves over, not knowing some of the signs of what a pest infestation might look like. Like problems in the heat, in a heated, dry environment can explode if you don't know what you're looking for and if you don't know the life cycle of that pest.
I think a lot of us too this time of year are dealing with, a lot of the sadness that comes with the sun going down a little bit earlier, right? There's a lot going on there, and let's talk about how houseplants can help us mentally and physically, and having all of these plants, especially being in this beautiful greenhouse right now, we can see how this can really benefit us. So tell us about that.
So, where do I start? This is my meditation room.
Yes.
I have coffee in here. This is my gratitude room. I think that with the angle of the sun and us probably lower than 11 hours of natural sunlight, we catch that first sun of the morning that invigorates our spirit. So scientifically, it's been shown that people that are exposed to greenery, number one, can have less incidence or less problems with conditions like asthma,
Yeah.
with allergies, definitely. Additionally, what it does, the fact of turning over leaves and touching leaves, it's a very sensory experience. It keeps you in touch with the cycle of growing, what's going outside. It's a way, when people say, do I really have to wait for 3 months? No.
Yeah.
You continue the greenery because it not only greens the inside, but it greens my spirit and my soul.
Excellent. Well, I can honestly say that I am no longer afraid to bring plants into my home after talking to you. I have so many tips. I hope our viewers feel the same. Judy, thank you so much for welcoming us into your home.
Okay, everyone, Denver Urban Gardens is a great way to connect with your community. Get indoor and outdoor growing tips and classes online at doug.org.